Welcome to the Wellness Witches Whimsy Podcast, your go-to sanctuary where magic meets mindfulness and holistic health gets real.
Join us, your hosts, Shade and Vanessa, as we dive deep into the realms of real life, trauma healing, whole foods, and the profound connection between mind, body, and soul. Hello! We are here
on a snowy Thursday for us.
We just got out of the gym. Literally just got out of the gym. We actually hightailed it out of there 12 minutes early. We freaking worked our butts off.
Yeah, it was a good one.
It was a really good one. But because it's such a snowy day that all of our kids are getting out of school early. My kids are about 30 minutes away from me right now, and we're like out in the country, so I have to give myself plenty of time to get there. So we decided that we were going to record today and finish part 2.
Yeah. Oh, want to tell us about your thought you had as you were driving through the snow on your way here, which I think is such an amazing. It's funny when you bring something up and it's like, why didn't I ever think of that? And it's like a simple, and then once you talk about it, so share with us.
Yeah. So it's something that I've been thinking about, but specifically on my drive here. So everybody already started on the, man, it's snowing kind of mentality, which is like totally normal. And I'm not like discounting anybody's feelings. Your emotions are valid. If you don't like snow, I feel ya. It's okay. My thought is, when we were children, we loved snow.
Mm-hmm.
It was magical.
Yeah. When I woke up, Edric, I was like, look outside. Look outside. Like, you're going to be so excited.
Yeah. And when the kids go out there, they're like, snowing. And they envision all of the magic that comes from snow. School getting off, not going to school, snowmen, igloos.
Snowball fights.
I mean, yeah, snow angels, right? So all of these things, like they look at the snow and they just see the beauty in it.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was driving this morning, I was like, it's just like beautiful glitter. And I love glitter. But we don't look at things the same way that we did when we were kids. And if we took a second, instead of going, I hate the snow, or it's cold outside,
mm-hmm.
or the opposite when it's raining, because I love when it's raining. It's one of my favorites. I'll still go outside in the rain.
Yeah.
I'll run in the rain. I'll do all of the things. I mean, please don't run in the rain if it's lightning. Please. No thunder, no lightning. Just when it's raining. I felt like I had to say that because somebody's going to be like, Vanessa runs in the rain. But
she's only been struck 3 times.
Right? Like, it's totally fine. But yeah, so like, just like taking ourselves back into that adolescent thought process of there's magic in everything.
Yes, and there is. And it's, just how you thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just thinking of it a different way.
Yeah, because it's not my favorite to drive in the snow, right? It's not my favorite to get snow in my shoes when I'm walking.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But like, when we were kids, we didn't care about any of that.
No.
We cared about catching the snowflakes on our tongue.
Mm-hmm.
We cared about how long could we push before our parents made us come inside.
Yes.
And now we just rush. We rush to get to the car. We rush to get inside the house. We rush to get inside the building. And we don't just like take a moment to just walk.
Yeah. Walk, look at it. Like, look at the sky of it falling, seeing when it hits the ground, just
the silence of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is something so like majestic about being outside and closing your eyes and feeling and then not hearing anything. Mm-hmm. It's so wild.
Yes. Oh, that would be a good thing to, suggest just closing your eyes and, just feeling it.
Using your other senses. Yeah, because they're all heightened and or like, like when we were kids, we always like looked at the snowflakes like in all of
Yes,
their
yeah,
beautiful
seeing different.
designs. Yeah, like as adults, like when's the last time that someone was like, "Oh my gosh, look
Look
at
at
my
the,
snow." So yeah, I just think a lot of times as adults, we really do like lose the magic of all of the things that we could be experiencing that are genuinely still magical.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And why do we look at things now in such a gray tone?
Yeah, I feel like once it's like you're an adult, you have to be an adult.
Mhm.
That's the way it is. Like, but it's not.
Yeah, we don't.
Like we can still do these adult things and be playful. And that was some of the work that I've been doing with my son is like trying to be more playful with him and laugh more. And like the bedtime routine, I really like kind of got burnt out because I put him to bed every night. You have to lay with him. He's 6. And it's okay because I know when that moment goes away, I'll be sad.
Mhm.
But sometimes it just kind of got daunting of like the same thing. And I'm like, okay, like that's me. I'm making it daunting. Nobody else. I'm choosing to think it is.
Right, to not remember how amazing it is
It's
that you have this beautiful
beautiful.
child that
Yes.
came from you and you get to put him
Yes.
to sleep.
And that mindset of the getting to,
Mhm.
I've been trying to work on that too with, you say like, I have to go to work. I have to do this.
Mhm.
I have to do that. We don't have to do anything.
Right, we're
but
adults. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah, but we get to, and it's a privilege.
Yeah.
Like what a privilege it is to have a job
Yeah.
that I enjoy. Like
Yeah.
I got to a place that I get to choose all the things that I do for work. And some people don't have that option. They do, but you think, you have all these things in place and you can't.
Right. And I think that the more we use the word I get to,
yes.
the more so like last year I with all of my clients, I had them romanticize their life. And that was the most fun that I have had coaching to date because I would tell them like because they're like romanticize my life. And I
what
would
does
say,
that mean?
yeah, so it literally means like being as romantic as possible with everything. So like I did things like took a walk by myself and I went to the beach and I did it during the sunset because I knew that that would be my absolute favorite. And I listened to music and I sang and I danced with myself and I looked at everything that I could do in a level of what would I want someone to do for me, and I did it for myself. So like that. Yeah.
And
so like being romantic with yourself.
That's really nice because I don't know why it's hard to like say the things you want to somebody else.
Oh yeah.
Right, because you can tell yourself, like, I know that you said the sunset, being on the beach and the music, but it might be difficult to say that to your significant other. Like, hey, this is something I want.
Yeah.
Can you do this for me? I don't know what that connection.
Because it feels selfish.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're like, or you want them to want to do it.
Without,
yeah, which that is definitely going to be one of our episodes, like the whole relationship dynamic. Like we just talked about this at the gym, but I mean, we should tell our partners exactly what we want. Because one, we're worthy of that. We should have the sunset walks. We should have the candlelight dinners. Whatever is beautiful and amazing to you, you deserve it. You should have those things. Our partners aren't mind readers, and they deserve to love us in their fullest capacity too. So when our partners love us the way that we feel that we want to be loved, then we are able to do that even more so for them, right? And they deserve that. Yeah. Why do they have to guess at what we want? Yeah. How silly is that? Why do they do that?
I say that me and my mom are more like that, and she likes to assume things, and then her response is, well, I didn't know. And,
right.
well,
why didn't you ask?
Yeah. You didn't ask. And then, yeah, we're not mind readers. Yeah, I like to
Yeah,
say.
we're not,
Yeah.
yeah, we don't. And like, or like the notion of, remember, was it like a couple of weeks ago? There was like a romantic reel that I had seen,
Mhm.
but it actually applied to you and to our friend Allie. And
Yeah.
I was like, can we just normalize sending romantic
Yeah.
stuff, but platonically to our friends? Because that's another thing that like I think we've gotten away from in society is like telling people who are not our like romantically involved partners how much we love
Love
and
them,
care
yes.
for them. Like when I talk about like so when I talk about my friends, I talk about them and my face lights up and I talk
Mhm.
about all of the amazing things about them and how they make me feel. But how often do we tell each other that or do that?
Yes.
And I think our friend group is pretty freaking amazing
Yes.
with that. Like
Yeah.
we tell each other
Mhm.
pretty regularly.
Yeah,
So
I tell everybody I love them.
Yeah.
I do.
yeah,
I love everybody.
yeah. And there has been plenty of friendships that I've had in the past where that was not a thing. We didn't tell each other that we loved
Yeah.
each other. We didn't hug, we didn't kiss, we
Yeah.
didn't like just like playfully like get close to each other or like snuggle or do anything that is totally acceptable.
It is, yeah. And you have to think too, maybe that other person
Yeah.
doesn't show emotions that way.
Right,
Or,
right.
you know,
Or
and
has
I've
never been
been
shown.
That's
Yeah.
my mom and I were just talking about that. I'm not very affectionate either. I like to give hugs and stuff like that, but I don't like cuddle that much. And she said too, we were trying to figure out like generation to generation, and she said the same thing, that her family wasn't very touchy-feely, cuddly. So then, yeah, that passed to my mom. So then she wasn't like that to me. So
Mhm.
then I'm trying to get comfortable with it.
Right.
And I ask my son, like, what does he want? You know,
Mhm.
and he says, sometimes I want you to hug and kiss me. I said,
Right.
okay, you tell me when you want that.
Mm-hmm. And then sometimes he doesn't,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and every one of my kids is like totally different, but like my kids are now in the space where they're so comfortable with me that they'll just come up to me and they'll be like, "Okay, this is cuddle time."
Yes.
And even like my 15-year-olds, they're both boys, but both of them are so comfortable that they can just like come snuggle me.
Yeah.
Like my one, he still like comes on my lap sometimes even,
Yeah.
and you know like
Yeah.
that. But like when I was growing up, I didn't have that. We didn't touch each other like that.
No.
We didn't like. We weren't affectionate.
Around our parents. Like
Like, seriously,
around
we weren't.
90s people who was around their
Yeah,
parents.
we were
like
gallivanting around.
Can I be out a little bit past dark?
Yeah, just like running around the neighborhood with all the neighborhood kids. Yeah. And like my generation, well, like in my household, we were pretty much like go to our rooms and play. We weren't really out playing. I don't ever remember as a child being in a shared space playing with toys.
Like
It
with
was-
your parents?
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely not with my mom. My
Yeah.
dad was like, if we were outside doing stuff, like I was always helping my dad. Like
Right.
I didn't have any siblings. So
Right,
if he
because you were
was
an
like,
only child.
yeah, if he was out cutting wood or doing stuff like that, I was there messing around too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really crazy because my kids will bring out half their freaking room just to like be
I know,
in the
you're
same
like,
space
how
as
do
me.
you have so much stuff? Oh yeah, because I keep buying it for you.
Yeah, right. Like we need to just cut back on that. But like sometimes, and what I think is really funny is like, so my two daughters who are like the oldest of the girls, sometimes they'll just come into my space simply to like share space with me.
Yeah.
But we're all doing our own
Big-
individual things, and then like we'll like occasionally like look at each other and like smile.
No, I love that. That's what we work best at. Like
Yeah.
me and our other friend Allie that's up here, when she gives massages, and some of her clients I know we're kind of like all encompassing. If they okay, I'll sit in there while she's giving the massage, and I'm like doing computer work, and then we're kind of like collectively talking, and it helps me focus. I think it helps her focus, and we're getting to talk and just
and share space in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we don't do like, did we talk about like community? Oh no. So that was another, so one of my group coaching calls this week, actually, we talked about the significance of community.
Oh, yes.
So this kind of ties back into trauma because we were talking about why in 2024 does everything feel so difficult?
Yes.
Like we feel like we're drowning all of the time. Other than like the regular, like we're working harder, we're doing more, the busyness is always a thing. We actually live so far apart from what we would have had for a community. So like people, like when you think about like historically speaking, we were close to our family members. We lived in the same house as our family, within, a couple of miles of each other. That tribe mentality of it takes a village. That's where it came from, though, was the collectiveness of sharing the same space so that you had the help as you needed the help.
Yeah.
Well, now we're in 2024 and some of us live thousands of miles from our family or an hour or more away from our family. So now we're taking work that our human design was meant to do together and we're separated. So like our bodies are like, wait a minute, why are we doing so much? And then our bodies think, oh, if we're doing all of the work and we're this stressed out, then that must mean something bad is happening. And so then our cortisol levels go up and then they stay up and they don't have the space or the time or the energy to go down. And then it's this big cascade effect, right? Because then, especially for females, because our bodies are so intricately connected and designed that when one level goes up unnecessarily, then you're talking our estrogen levels and our progesterone and our testosterone levels and all of these other levels fluctuate and get messed up. And then we wonder why we are so like about everything. And we blame ourselves. We're like, crazy.
Yeah.
No, it's actually, you're not crazy. Your hormones are so dysregulated, your physical body is dysregulated, and now your spiritual and emotional self is dysregulated.
I was just talking to my mom about this yesterday with the family. My uncle became disabled last year, the year before, and then my grandmother is taking care of him, and now she's starting to decline. And then it's like, and then my aunt is slowly trying to help, but she still has to have a job. And then now her health is going down. And it's this snowball effect of, but if we were all in the house together and if we're further, they're in Indiana, not too far, but far that I can't be there every day to help out. And it just is like, what are we going to do with all our elderly family members?
Right. Because this is why we have an abundance of nursing homes.
And like, I feel bad because I'm sure a big group of people want to. Like, I'm a person that I want to help. But realistically, and I always say, I'll be there to help. Like, I'm always like, I can help, but I can't help everybody.
Right. I can't be everywhere.
I can't be everywhere. Yeah. I have business. I have other jobs I work. I have a child. Like, I live here. But I want to be there. I want to help. I want to support. But then there's this regular lifestyle that we're living. And I think too, you had the big house and everybody was there and it does take a village.
Well, and everybody was close, right? Yeah. Because like, even when you're talking about like, let's talk about like back in the day, like when we started settling in America, all of the families were also right there. And then those families had other families who were, so like you had an entire village of people who were either related to you or close, like you were close to, or like the town itself. Yeah. Everybody knew everyone. Okay. There were no strangers. You knew when somebody was coming through who was a stranger. Yeah. So like everybody looked out for each other and there was the barter system and everybody had their jobs.
Can we go back to it, please?
Seriously, why did we get away from living so
I think some of the, like you said, like some of the trauma, like, okay, you have that, and that system sounds like a great system. There always going to be some fault. So,
absolutely.
So say you've got I think some of it is you've got the family members that might have been toxic, and then you
Right.
have the people that are like, I can't wait to get away.
Right.
You know, you had a lot of people that just joined the army, like just get me away from,
yeah.
like, if they were in a bad situation. So I think
Mhm.
that all started to, like, people are like, I need to get away. So then it started the spread of, like,
Yeah. Well, and the industrialization of
Yes.
everything.
like, yeah, we need to better, to
Yeah.
try to better themselves.
Yeah. And then when everybody went away, and yeah, I think it is. I just like in a perfect world.
I know. I've been dreaming of that.
Yeah.
Like, can't we
One
barter? Yeah.
Well, one day we can. I genuinely believe at some level, because like so our generation is kind of the generation who's going back to the basics,
Mhm.
right? We're making our homemade foods again. We're making the homemade breads and the cleaning
Homemade
solutions, and
smoothies.
yeah, we're growing our gardens. We're doing all of the things because our parents before us were the generation who lost all of that.
Yes.
They were the, oh my gosh, we grew up in the 90s. There were pizza rolls and bagel bites and microwave dinners, and the big like social, like, here's frozen food and microwaves.
What skills? Let's play a game. What skills did you learn from your parents?
Not a single, literally nothing.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Literally nothing. I
guess-
learned not one single
I guess I'll
real
take
life
that back.
skill.
My dad was a painter. They owned a business
Oh,
for a
yeah,
while.
yeah.
So I did learn how to paint.
Okay.
That would be my life skill from my parents.
No.
No
I didn't even learn how to
cooking.
drive. I didn't learn how to cook. I didn't learn how to drive.
I learned how to drive, but guess what? They were drunk letting me drive, so I don't know.
You know what I find fascinating, Shade, and like, well, I feel like I want to dive into. So Shade drives everyone everywhere.
Yes.
She's a great driver.
Yes.
She is, and she enjoys driving.
Yes.
Okay, what I find fascinating is that you enjoy it so much, even though you had to drive because you had parents who were not parenting you.
Yeah.
You essentially had to become the parent, right?
Mhm.
So you had to be in control of the situation. I will say that Shade has a hard time letting go of the control when someone else is driving. So that is a trauma response. But I find it fascinating that the notion of driving is something that makes you happy versus being something that you would see more as a burden or a necessity.
Yeah. And even with my mom, I still drive her around.
Yeah.
She's not drunk though. So that's why I think I'll allow it. Like, I have no problem. Now, if my parents still were drinking and asked me for a ride, that I think would be like
your
a
trauma response.
Like, good luck. You can walk your ass wherever you gotta
walk where you gotta go. Yeah, I just find that, well, and that's the most amazing part about like the human design, is that we can experience things and have such a different response to those experiences.
And it's nice to hear that, like you saying that, and it's not like you're saying it just like, oh, this is an observation that I had. I can kind of see this. And I think we're all kind of at a good place. Same with my mom, where it's like, when you start to notice these things, to like say it in a gentle way to somebody. So you're not like, oh, you were doing this, like just what I noticed. And then it's like, oh yeah. And then it kind of gets the wheels turning
and
in your
like
own
being
head.
able to self-reflect a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that is a thing. So like when I look at people, I probably overanalyze everything all of the time. So like I will look at someone and I will think about all of the ways that their existence like evolved. Like, why are they who they are? I go into that so significantly, but I do that because I feel like I want to communicate with people at the level that they're at right in this moment.
I like that.
And it's because I used to judge. I think it's because I judged everybody.
And I'm the same way. I like to do that too, because then I feel like I'm not judging right away, because I think that's just like a natural instinct that we have. And I've learned a lot of the times that I've had this, if I have a negative judgment right away, and then I just like push it aside and like just give them a chance, those people have turned out to be good friends.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure she's okay with me using one friend that, yeah, the first time I was like, seems a little needy. And then I'm like, shut up in there. You be
Yeah.
quiet. Just give her a chance. She's a good friend and I love her so much. And she's sweet and thoughtful and not any of these notions that I had in my head because I just judged off the first situation. And then now when I think back to of like, okay, what was her life like? What did she go through? Now I could see why maybe that first moment that where I thought that because of things that happened to her in her past.
Yeah. And if we looked at everybody that way and we gave more
Yes.
people the opportunity to show us a different version of themselves or like be able to look at them in a different light, I think that things would be much better.
Yes.
We wouldn't be so harsh as a whole, or want to even fix everybody. Right?
Yes.
Because like there are different levels of that as well. Like you have to meet the person where they're at.
Yes.
Period. Like that is a end of sentence. Meet the person where they're at. Then you make this strong connection with them. You have a relationship with them. And there are little things that you can do that they don't even realize will eventually start healing pieces of them too. And when I go into a relationship, I always think about like, how can I be the best person for them in a relationship? So like that's something that I feel like is super important. Like a lot of us don't do. Like a lot of us were like, oh, I want to be their friend because they like the same color as me, you know, or they like the same music as me, or I want to be their friend because they seem interesting. And it's always our first instinct to be like, I want to be their friend. And it's a selfish notion. Why? Yes. Right? Yes. And not look at people and be like, I want to get to know that person because they genuinely seem interesting. Like, because like, obviously it's the way that we connect. Yeah. Right. But if more people did the like go up to people and be like, hey, like tell me a little bit about yourself or whatever, and be like and have like a very organic conversation, how much more like fulfilling would life be? Because we would realize that we're all living.
Oh my gosh, we're all
in this, in our own realities, but in this existence that we as humans have created. And we're all on this journey and we all need each other in some capacity. And like, I think trauma has taught us to just put this wall up. Yeah. Right. I don't want another person to hurt me.
Yeah. 90% of the people you talk to, if you get into a conversation with them, you're going to have something in common. Yeah. You're going to be like, wait, what? We know this person or we've been to this place or you have some connection.
Something. Yeah. Something. And genuinely, it's kind of hard to not like people if you're trying to genuinely get to know someone.
Yeah. I think it's unless somebody is honestly being like disgusting, like a rude person to you. Yeah. It's really hard. Yeah. And I would have to say, if you didn't, it's probably a reflection of yourself.
Oh yeah.
I've been like the things like for the example I was saying about that friend that I kind of was like, at first, that wasn't her. It was me. Yeah. It was whatever she said was actually something that was bothering me, but I didn't see that.
Right. And could you imagine if you just like shut that?
Yeah, if I would have shut it down and then I wouldn't I would have not had a good friendship just because I was being
inside of yourself.
Yeah, I was being inside of myself.
Yeah. And like, so we have only been friends for like the last 7 months, right? Because I joined CrossFit almost 7 months ago. But prior to that, the whole reason, other than the physicality of like, I wanted to better myself physically, I was so desperate to find a group of people to belong to because my husband and I had just lost an abundance of people in our life. And like, when I reflect back on the losses of those relationships, it was that we outgrew them. Yeah. We outgrew every person who is no longer in our life right now. We have continued to heal. We have continued to better ourselves. We have continued to realize that there's so much more in life. And those people that were in our lives no longer served the greater purpose of continuing to heal and to continuing to grow, right? And there were some people that were in our lives that maybe came into our lives with good intentions, and then the story flipped. And then they, because they were so unhealed, had caused us a lot of hurts. And I used to reflect back on those relationships and be like, I hate that person. I can't stand them. But now when I reflect back on it, like even my most recent loss of a relationship, I look at those two people and I think, I hope that one day they're healed enough that they will also outgrow the people who are in their life right now.
Yes.
Because they're not in a space. They're not healed. They have so much more growth that could happen. They have the potential to be these amazing, beautiful people, but they're not there yet.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
It is. And it's hard to like let some of the relationships go. But like you said, we've outgrown them. And it's a beautiful thing to say that.
And I would have never found you.
Yeah.
And I would have never reconnected with Allie. And I wouldn't be in this space right now. Like, so everything genuinely happens for a reason, right? And like, it is hard, but like the notion of like, everything has a season, everything has a reason, everything has a purpose and a place. Like, if you look at everything that happens in your life in that light,
it feels so much better to it does. Like, to just be like, oh, there was a reason, there was a purpose for this. But if you look at everything negative and just that, like, that's what's going to keep continuing. Like,
yeah, for sure. And like, even like, what's the lesson in what I'm supposed to be receiving right now? Like right now, we're actively looking for a house, right? And I just got done, like literally right before we hit record, I was telling Shade that I'm the most, and I have no shame in this, I am the most impatient person you will ever meet. I want to do everything right now. I want everything right now. It is, and I know that that's a rooted trauma response that I should be working on. And I will say, I was much worse. I was way worse. I have been getting better. But this process of selling our house and trying to find another home has been one of the hardest things for me because of my impatience.
Yeah. And because it's like, oh, it's gonna work. No.
Nope. Oh, this one's gonna and no.
And like you said, the conversation, it was good. We had a conversation before and she was saying she's impatient. I was like, oh, I'm glad you say that because I wanted to tell you no the other day, but I didn't want to say that. But now that we had this conversation and I'm like, Vanessa, I'm going to be telling you no.
And I gave her permission.
Yeah.
I said, like, yes. Please tell me no. Because otherwise I'll suck you into my crazy. But like, I have the ability to recognize like that's a weak point for me. And that is a very strong point for you because you're one of the most patient people I know. But see, we are attracted to each other
and we can balance
each other out. And I also believe that every relationship that's thriving in your life right now, it's because it is a relationship that's meant to be.
Yes.
Right? Because like we do balance each other out super well. And our friend Allie, like we really have like this amazing dynamic, and other people in my life or my significant other.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's like the exact opposite of me.
Definitely blessed with them too.
Yeah, for sure. But like they really are, when you think about like Eric and when you think about Adam, they really are everything that we aren't.
Yeah.
And we really are everything that they aren't. And I think that that's why we are so fortunate, because we found somebody who the universe was like, this is what you need.
Yeah, it is.
And we went, okay.
Yeah, it's like
I went, we'll see about it. Because that was awful.
Yeah, I was a little at the beginning too, because I was in a relationship for a long time. Then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do my own thing. Was kind of like, all right, I'm gonna just have some fun. And then I met Eric, and then I was like, okay. And then he's like, I'll cook dinner, and I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, he saved me from Oktoberfest. I'm sure some of you know about that. I
Yeah.
stay away now.
Yeah, that's a freaking Wisconsin and our
Yeah.
drinking.
I
Like
know,
our
it's
state
like-
is terrible with
it's-
drinking.
Oh, it's horrendous.
It is because like it came out with like the top like 20 cities
Oh,
that
yeah.
drink the most or whatever.
Madison.
And like literally Wisconsin had like
Lacrosse.
10
Yeah.
cities in that list of 20 because Wisconsin is such like a heavy centered like beer and cheese.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, cool. Beer and cheese.
And
Can we change it to goat cheese and sheep
Yeah.
cheese? please?
Right. And
It doesn't need to be.
adaptogenic
Yeah.
drinks and
Yes.
not drinks that poison us because that would be great.
Yeah. Well, like mocktails, I've become
Yeah.
and same with my son, Edric loves like the LaCroix. I know some people are not. I know she's not gonna, but there's other like the poppies and all these other drinks that they come out with.
Mhm.
Those and some juice
Yeah.
and like put some fruit. Tastes great.
Yeah. And there's plenty of like companies that have come out now
Yes.
that are like the mocktails,
Yes.
like that have like adaptogenics in it and mushrooms in it and all of the things to like give you a sense of some sort of euphoria
Yeah.
without inhibiting your ability to logically think,
Yeah.
without poisoning you.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
I've watched a couple people the last couple years make the switch of like, oh, some were just like, I'm just not going to drink for fun. And it's like, it's only been so positive for all these people.
oh,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah, let's change to mocktails. Let's,
Yeah.
you know,
feel better.
yeah.
I mean, there's so many, and that should be a whole
That's
other
a whole,
episode.
yeah.
It
Oh,
really
we got
is.
days and days on that one.
Yeah. We haven't, like, we kind of like,
We're
we're kind of all over the place today.
That's okay. I think
is okay.
everything that we talk about is all relatable
Right.
and things that all of us feel
Mhm.
and deal with
Yeah.
and go through.
I agree. I think, when we talk about trauma, there's so many different ways and things that can come up when we talk about it. That's why we're like 36 minutes into this episode and could just literally
Yeah.
continue it on. But like finding the thing that works for you the best, and
Yes.
finding the points in time where like if you are triggered, recognizing that this is a trauma response, that you are triggered in the moment. And like I know we've said it before, but genuinely, if you take a moment to do a body scan, do 3 really good deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, and then in through your nose, out through your mouth, and then one more big in through your nose, out through your mouth. It completely resets your system. So I know there are moments in time where you can't like take those 3 breaths. Maybe you're in the middle of a work meeting. Maybe you're in the middle of a heated discussion. This would be the time to normalize boundaries and to say to someone, I'm sorry, I'm not in the space to continue this conversation. Let's take a pause. Let us reflect on what needs to be done or how we could better improve our communication skills and walk away.
I love that because I'm a person, people will say something, whatever, if you're in a heated, they
Mhm.
say something, and then I'm just like dumbfounded.
Right.
It takes me, I need those moments to step, to like let it settle what was said, and then have my response.
Right. Because like you do have like 2 sides of the coin. Like for me, one of my worst attributes is that when I'm in a heated discussion, I know exactly what to say to like not be very nice.
Oh,
Or
yes.
I have such a way with words that it's almost like whatever I say will be very difficult for you to have a response to. And some of that, it just like, it comes out.
Mhm.
I'm not intentionally thinking, what can I do to shut down this conversation? I just know everything that I want to say in the moment. And then it just comes out. And then I was like, oh, wait, I can't even take that back now.
Yeah.
So I have learned to like take the deep breaths, to be very quiet, and then literally say, I am not in a space
Mhm.
to have this conversation without there being ramifications. Like, dude, Adam, my husband, he would be the first to tell you that he cannot have an argument with me
Yeah.
because he's like, you're so quick, like the things that you say. And I
Be a
don't
good
know how to.
stand-up comedian.
Yeah. And he doesn't know how to respond to me. So
Yeah, that's me. I get like dumbfounded and I just
like
stare
at you.
people and I'm just like, okay.
Well, and then sometimes people perceive that as like you just don't care.
Right.
And you do care.
Yeah. And I will go that same way too. Cause if I do start blurting, it's gonna be the like, yeah, I'm trying to get those punches in.
Right.
But I'm not like that as like normally
when you're not being triggered.
Yes.
Right.
Vanessa has seen it with my mom.
Mhm.
I do like if somebody comes at me with like some aggression, I'm instantly
back at, like
right
the
back
mirror.
at, yeah,
you just
mirrors.
immediately do it. Yeah.
I'm very chill, relaxed, but that moment somebody has that anxiety. Yeah, I just suck it in and it's coming right back at
Right.
me.
But that's like a
But I
survival
don't want
response.
to be.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, I don't want it just comes right out.
Right. And a different and that's like a moment. Like so like the recognition of that's a survival response. Your physical body goes, oop, we're no longer safe.
Yeah.
So what do we do when we're no longer safe? So like, you know, again, even if you just are able to just
one breath even. Yeah.
To just say, okay, we're gonna think for a moment. I'm constantly doing body scans on myself where I like say, like, where's my heart rate right now? Where is my breathing right now? Are my fists clenched? Am I my jaw is tight? Whatever. I will start feeling my body doing that, and then I'll go, oh, okay, something about this doesn't feel safe to my physical body. So then internally, I always say, I am safe. I am loved. I am whole. To remind myself that I am in a moment that is uncomfortable, but I'm still physically safe because your body needs that reminder. And we're like 40 minutes into this episode. What I think we should do is so I did a poll for our listeners out there. So if you are on Spotify, please answer the poll so that we can continue to talk about things that are relevant for you guys. And then I think our next episode will really dive into if you're triggered, here are things that you can do and how to live daily with trauma that is still unresolved. So that would look like self-care routines. It would look at self-care modalities. I can do a quick breath work exercise that you yourself at home can do. I always highly encourage people to have something in their back pocket at all times.
Yes.
And so we'll teach you guys that on our next episode. And then from there, you guys need to tell us, what do you want us to talk about? Because we are open to everything and all.
Yes.
All right.
Stay safe.
Yay. Thank you. Bye. Have a great one.
Thank you for holding space with us. This marks the end of another enchanting journey on the Wellness Witches Whimsy podcast. We hope today's episode has sprinkled a little magic on your day and empowered you with the insights to elevate your wellness journey, mind, body, and soul.
Remember, the path to well-being is both an ancient art and science, a blend of ancient wisdom and modern knowledge. So keep your wands ready and your potions brewing until we meet again. May your days be filled with health, happiness, and a touch of whimsy until our paths cross again in the realm of wellness and wonder.
Please note that the content provided in this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Always seek the advice of your physician with any changes you want to implement. The views expressed by the hosts and their guests are their own and should not be considered replacement medical advice.